Hi guys, welcome back to Balls Fan TV, and today we're back with another video doing the match reaction to last night's 1-0 defeat against Sligo Rovers in the third round of the FAI Cup. A very bad night. We got what we deserved, I think. I think everyone can agree with that. We never really got going. Sligo were the better team from the off, and yeah, 1-0 defeat. We bow out of the FAI Cup at the third round, and yeah, it's really disappointing. We would have looked at the cup at the start of the season and said, it's a great chance for some silverware, like we do for not the start of every season. But yeah, to be out at the third round, it's really disappointing. But look, I don't think anyone can have any complaints about the result. It was a poor night from the off. Really, we never really got into it. Sligo started quite well. In the first sort of even 5-10 minutes, you could tell that it was going to be a struggle for us. Sligo, they from the off, they took control. They were getting forward without really creating loads of chances, but we were struggling to get the ball and keep possession. We're much sharper. A couple of little half chances. We got forward a couple of times, and Parsons had one that went narrowly wide, and we worked their keeper a couple of times, but other than that, we didn't do anything in the first half. And Sligo were much hungrier, much better in possession. They were getting a lot of space, particularly in midfield. And yeah, look, they had a couple of opportunities, particularly one from Patrick McLean that Bucko had to clear off the line. But yeah, I think they were the better side in the first half. And look, early into the second half, we get a penalty. Ross Tierney's brought down, and up steps Dale Rooney, and their keeper goes the right way and saves it. And Rossi gets the ball then and puts it into the box, and James Taylor has a chance. And I was only looking back at it this morning, in real time on the ground. I didn't think it was that bad of a miss, but I think he should be getting it on target at least. And yeah, that was a big opportunity squandered, of course. And then obviously 3 minutes later we get the blow. Owen Elding, it's a good finish, to be fair, into the bottom right hand corner, and yeah, we get punished, and it's unfortunate, but you can't say they didn't deserve it. And yeah, we knew exactly how the game was going to go on from that point. We knew that they were going to allow us to have all of the ball, and just sit back and say, right, come on, let's see what you have. Let's, see if you can break us down. And of course, we didn't do that. We didn't really create any chances after that. A lot of backwards and sideways passing. Got ourselves into a couple of good positions, but, couldn't make anything from them. The only chance I can really remember at the second half was Reece Brennan, came on and had a shot that was, save from Sargent, and that was it really. There was nothing really to report on in terms of chances from ourselves in the second half. And yeah, we went out with a bit of a whimper in the end. Yeah, it was probably our worst performance since that run in April and in March, where we were, when we started the season very poorly. Yeah, it was definitely our worst performance since then. And yeah, we got exactly what we deserved. There were a lot of things that you could point towards as to why we lost that game. I thought the team selection was strange, to be honest. Even before the game, I was looking at the team and thinking, I'm not really sure about that, to be honest. Talbot and goal, look, I don't think he did anything wrong last night, but still, it kind of disrupts things when you're changing your goalkeeper, when Casper's played for so many weeks now. And yeah, I thought changing the goalkeeper was strange. Bucko starting, again, I didn't agree with it really. Personally, would have had McDonald in there. Bucko was a little bit off it last night. And yeah, that proved to be a bit of a strange decision. I know Cornwall was injured, but Kavanagh again at centre back, I just think he's a bit of a liability, to be honest. He just looks like every time he's on the ball, he's going to do something stupid. He's going to make a mistake. And there was a couple of times last night where he gave the ball away. And yeah, I just thought he was very poor. A few others as well that I just thought weren't up to it at all last night. Rossi, Dale Rooney, I thought was very lazy, to be honest. Just didn't get involved at all. Poor penalty. Tierney, we all love him. We all love the way he plays. He's the type of player that you'd never you never criticise for being, lazy or not giving 100%, but I thought last night was poor. And to be honest, he's probably been poor for a number of weeks now. He played well up in Derry when he got the goal, but apart from that game, he's not been at his best now for the last few weeks. And yeah, last night was probably his worst performance of the season. But yeah, look, as soon as Sligo got the goal, you knew what was going to happen. You knew that we were just not going to be able to break them down. Because we've just seen that too many times before this season, where we're chasing the game, but we can't do anything really. We can't create any chances. Connor Parsons, I thought that was just another strange decision to start him. I know he scored last week, but look, he didn't have to do a lot to score that goal. It was absolutely gifted to him. But I thought he was poor last night, apart from a couple of chances that he had. But yeah, we knew exactly how the game was going to go. Once Sligo got the goal, we knew that it was going to be very hard to break them down. Especially with our record of playing against teams who like to frustrate you and sit back. We don't seem to be able to break those sort of teams down. And yeah, we're in a position now where it's Europe or bust. And look, that's almost unforgivable, really. We're lucky that there's still a little bit to go in the league, and we can still try and get a bit of a run going again and stay within the top three. But you'd worry about what this will do for the players' confidence. Losing the cup game at home so early on into the competition, it's really disappointing. But there's still a lot to play for. We need to get our act together now. We need to start getting a run going again. The last few games we have fallen off the pace a little bit. I think overall we can agree that we were deservedly beaten last night. It was a really poor performance. We never looked like we were gonna get into any sort of rhythm throughout the game. From the off, Sligo just looked way better, wanted it more. And yeah, we got what we deserved. But look, we've got, I don't know, I think it's 9 or 10 league games left. 9 or so cup finals to go. And yeah, we need to take advantage of every single one of them. We need to put this behind us now and get a run going. And that starts against Cork next week. We need 3 points. It's an absolute must. And then we need to take it into the next games after that. But things for sure, we need to see a huge improvement in performances. The last couple of weeks it's not been great. And yeah, we need to get back to the levels we were at in the weeks before that. And I just hope that we will respond from last night by getting some results going. But we're only going to do that by improving, and that's what we need to see. But yeah, a poor night at the office, well beaten, and yeah, we need to respond against Cork next week. So yeah, that's where I'll end it. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment down below what you thought about the game, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.